Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and I got a review for you. Today we're going to be talking about Boom Studios' Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. Issue number 4 is written by Jason Aaron, art by Alexandre Tefenkgi, colors by Lee Loughridge, and letters by AndWorld Design. I know I messed up the artist's name. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry, no disrespect. Here we are, the 4th issue, right? So we are following the tale of Mezzi and Maceo and in a post-apocalyptic world. I'll show you the back cover. It always has some cool stuff going on, some weapons and stuff. But at this point, it's just basically Maceo and Mezzi and Maceo. They have found each other at the beginning of our story. We have learned that Mezzi is a wasteland ranger, or was a wasteland ranger. She took off and she took it's a book. I don't know how to put it, but it's kind of like their Bible. So now she has the wasteland rangers that are after her, led by Chiefess Maul. She ends up finding Maceo, and he kind of changes her life, kind of thing. Eventually, during this, in our last issue, Maceo was trying to prove that he could survive in the wastelands. Of course, it didn't work out that well for him, and he got captured by the Wasteland Rangers. And that's currently where we are in the 4th issue. So before I get started with all that recap being done, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. It does help. It's all free, doesn't cost you anything, I promise. It's just interaction between me and you, right? And that's what I'm doing this channel for, the interaction. I want to talk about the comics, It doesn't matter if it's the letters, the color, the art. Let's talk about it, So there's a lot going on in this issue, and I want to say a lot of it is backstory, which is fantastic. We have not got a lot of that, but we are being treated with a lot of backstory about Mezzi, and we get a story when she was in the Wasteland Rangers, like living with them and following the credo and the code, and she tells us the story about the one time she made a mistake, and it was a kiss. It doesn't state that there was romanticism in it. It was just a kiss between two young kids experiencing and growing, as we all did as growing people, right? But this kiss did happen to be with another girl named Jenny. And the punishment in the Wasteland Rangers for said punishment is she has to swim in this black oil lagoon type thing, and she just basically has to make it to the bottom and then come up or something like that. Mezzi, since she is the younger, I don't know how you say it, she's the younger between the two that kissed, is the older one that takes the punish. Jenny is the one that's being punished. We get this backstory about some other cadets that have had to do the same trial, and they did come back successful. One being this kid named Danny, another kid named Cassandra, I think. And it basically tells them how they did swim down there and they came back and they were fine. Of course, at this moment in the book, Jenny does hop in the lagoon, and everybody else on the bus watching her, because they're kind of it's this weird bus that's connected to the lagoon. But we see that she doesn't swim out. The other cadets are kind of weirded out because she's not doing what she's supposed to be doing, and we find out quickly it is what she wants to do. We get some more backstory about those other kids that did survive, and basically they did survive, and when they got back they basically committed suicide in horrible ways, and it's because of the torment and everything that comes along with being a Wasteland Ranger. Yeah, you survived the punishment, but you still committed the crime, so we're forever going to hound you on it, kind of thing. So of course these kids committed suicide, and poor Jenny follows suit. She does make it over to the bus, and she does give a farewell to Mezzi, stating that she was sorry and that she needs to burn the Wasteland Rangers to the ground. We cut back over to present times, and basically the Wasteland Rangers have set up a trap. They have Maceo hanging from a tree upside down, hoping to lure Mezzi out thinking she will come rescue her newfound friend. Um, Basically, Chieftain Ma offers, she states that Mezi has broken every code in the Ranger Handbook, and but basically they're willing to, take her back for some reason. It's because she has the book, and they want the damn book back. Um, we do get another flashback about Mazio when he was in the tower, and there was one night where he was trying to count all the stars, and he invented this thing to count the stars. Um, it's kind of all that flashback is at the moment, but we do see that it does come into flashing because this thing's still kind of trying to count the stars. But the Wasteland Rangers are going through all the different inventions that Maceo has, and they're trying to determine what he really is in the grand scheme of things. They all have coalitions, like everybody is a scout on some level or something like that, and the best they can come up with is Maceo is a trapper because he has all these different inventions. Um, the the end outcome is basically the Wasteland Rangers burn all his gear, calling it stuff for stupid people and just obsolete stuff that you don't need to survive, that kind of stuff. One of the cadets does mention that it's his weapons, that they don't understand it, but that's what he was using to survive, and that's exactly what it is. He invented all this stuff. The book comes over, and Mazio is kind of coming more out of it because he has been knocked out in the events that happened in the last issue. But we have this conversation between him and Ma, the chieftain of the Wasteland Rangers, and it's basically like, what did you do to Mezi? How did you get her to change? What is the lore behind you, kind of thing? And she's not really understanding it. And she throws up these sexual terms and innuendos like, oh, y'all are finger banging and getting blowjobs. Is that what it is? Of course, that's not what it is at all. It's just he's nothing like the Wasteland Rangers, and that was the whole appeal. He was something different in the world of nothing but clones, kind of thing. We do get this cool spread of different merit badges, because right before this cool spread, it's going to be mentioned that he's about to be tortured by somebody with a torture merit badge. There's a whole bunch of crazy merit badges. Some are regular, like archery, woodworking, but then you have manhunting and man roping and excellence and self-preservation abstinence. Torture advanced, excavation beginner. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the Wasteland Rangers. So Mezi has been in the background. She went and checked on Maceo and basically eventually kind of gave up. She's following the Ranger credo, and she knows that he's a lost cause. She even knows what's coming, that they're about to torture him. She starts hearing the screams, and she continues on with her journey. She does drop that little ornament that she kind of turned into a necklace that Maceo gave her. We get another flashback, and it's this moment between Ma and Mezi after Jenny had killed herself, and it's basically this whole you did this to yourself. We're building you up to be something better. We do learn that she is next in line to be the next chieftain Ma, basically, and that's kind of why the whole super hard discipline. But it seems like all the Rangers have they got crazy rules. Eventually she is kind of reprimanded. She's made to reprimand herself, slap herself, and mention all the things that she did wrong. Progress, diversity, and decency. And not just that she did wrong, but there were things that the world did wrong, things that are wrong in the world. One big thing is crime. We do get to see this cool spread of the Wasteland Rangers camp. A lot of weird things going on here, like underwater training room, which was one of the merit badges. But one of the coldest cuts on this spread is at the very bottom. There's a skull and crossbones, and it says Jenny. Deep cut, man, deep cut. We have the scene where basically Mezi is telling sorry to Jenny, and basically she mentions that she will burn it down. And this is that moment that we have to imagine that Messi took off and why that she took off, kind of thing. We do see right before that you know she sees somebody off in the distance in a boat and is screaming for help. We'll catch up with that in a second. They jump back over to the intense torture that is going on. I mean, this guy sticks a poker in Macio's ear. He's got like pins sticking out of his prog. I mean, Maceo is getting tortured, and they did not hold back. But basically, at this point, Ma is basically determined that Maisie is holding up to her Ranger standards, and she's not coming back for Maceo, so they're going to do the next best thing and burn Maceo. They mentioned that they have done the same thing to the tower, and Maceo kind of hears that and is like, "What? The tower? You know where I came from?" And Ma's like, "Yeah, we've been following you, and we came across the tower, and we found it, with all kind of heresies and all kind of stuff, and they burned it to the ground." Maceo hearing this, and we reading the book, we know that his parents were still there, as shown here, and of course that means they burned to the ground. Maceo kind of, finally having to dealing with her death, kind of thing, but it is short-lived because he's not allowed to cry because that's breaking one of the credos, and the scouts start beating the crap out of him. In Maceo's, because he's already been being tortured, stuff stuck out his ear, and he starts quoting some of the Ranger credo, and it comes off like that he's about to black out, but he says Proverb 4:85, there's always rats. Proverb 5:53, only the dead stay put in holes. The cadets start hearing that, and they think he's just been listening to Maceo. But he does say one important line, and he says Proverb 9:72, the wasteland must decide. When he says that, all the Rangers stop, and Ma declares that they have to follow the rules. The book jumps back over to Mezzi, and she's kind of reliving that scene with Jenny, and basically she has to keep moving on. She's got to do what she needs to do, and we kind of find out what she's trying to do right here, because we see that she does go out to help that guy in the boat, and it turns out he is known as the old timer scoutsman, the old ranger. But she calls them all four things. But the old-timey ranger, basically he's out there, and he explains that some kind of crazy mutated shark was able to get a hold of him in his little boat. She asked a pivotal question. He has been on a mission to go find this oasis that was going to lead everybody into a better life or whatever, and she asked him, did he find it? And he does say yes, he did find it. But then mentions that he needs to get help because he is kind of, not only bleeding out, but his intestines are kind of like falling out. Mezzi hears all this and grabs a knife and stabs him. And he's all surprised, like, what the heck, you doing? We see basically, she answers with, no one's going to hear you. I am the people that would come to your rescue. You're going to tell me how to get to the oasis, and I am like an advanced, I have an advanced merit badge in torture, so it's going to get messy, kind of thing. She pulls out a tape recorder, shown right here, and he's basically going to give her the directions, and that's where it cuts off right there. The book jumps back over, and we see a couple scenes with Mezzi, and she's basically having second thoughts. She does go back for that jewelry, the necklace. We cut back over to Maceo now that he is, he said that proverb, the wasteland must decide, and we see that it is like a trial by fire kind of thing, and they actually have a name for it, and it's called the apocalypse. The apocalyptics, something like the apocalyptics. And it's basically going to be like this test or whatever to see if, Maceo is whatever, if he's worthy. Like I mentioned, Mezzi does go back and pick up the necklace, and the very last thing that we see is that tape recorder that they just mentioned. She leaves on the ground. But that is the end of this issue. There is no like cover hint or any kind of description on what's coming next. But that is my review. That's where we're at. Please let me know what you're thinking. I'm loving the story. I mean, like you're talking about the flow of the story, everything. I love that we got a lot of the backstory on Mez, that we got to see how the Wasteland Rangers were before this whole stuff. It's getting pretty crazy, guys. You let me know your thoughts on Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. You liking it, you loving it, you hating it. I know a lot of people are on the fence about Jason Aaron. Me, myself, I am really enjoying this read so far. But that's my review. These are my opinions. Let me know your opinions, please. Alright, guys, I will leave you with that. That's probably going to be my last review of the night, and I will see you tomorrow.